Throughout human history, the search for energy has brought mankind from the harshest deserts to the widest lakes to the tallest mountains. In the past few years, we have once again been sent underground in pursuit of previously unattainable oil now made available by a process known as fracking. If you consider yourself at all up to date with current events, the word fracking must at least be somewhat familiar.
Fracking.
Hydraulic fracturing.
Fracking.
Yet while the debate of its legality is a recent one, the practice of fracking is nothing new. In fact, some of the earliest examples of fracking can be traced back to the 1940s.
What is fracking?
Oh, we're petroleum. We're actually all petroleum engineers.
Okay, so what is fracking? What is fracking?
I have no idea.
What is fracking?
Fracking? That's it's drilling underground it's a gas.
Natural gas.
Yeah, natural gas.
Fracking is the use of highly pressurized water-sand chemical solution to crack open deep rock formations containing hydrocarbons like natural gas. The fluid is pumped deep underground where it fractures the rock containing the natural gas. This gas escapes through the newly created cracks in the rock and is sent back to the surface through the well system. This method is more difficult and expensive than traditional methods of finding fuel, which is why it isn't more widely used. Recently, fracking has been combined with the use of horizontal wells branching off from a main well to be more efficient. Today, fracking is entering the limelight because the high price of oil and improvements in technology have made it more economically viable to use this method to reach otherwise impossible to drill reserves of fuel. The Marcellus Shale Formation is home to an estimated 410 trillion cubic feet of natural gas, now accessible with this new technology. This formation spans much of Pennsylvania, New York, Ohio, and West Virginia. In Pennsylvania alone, there are a little over 7,000 currently active wells. But as with the case with many drilling processes, there are distinct risks and rewards, pros and cons.
Yeah, we're pretty for fracking, to be honest. Okay.
Fracking can benefit the economy and nation as a whole. Natural gas has the power to provide fuel to the United States for years to come. The U.S. has a ton of suitable places to frack, thousands of which are in PA. With the help of fracking, the U.S. can be transformed from a nation that imports its energy to a nation that exports it. Today, the U.S. and its allies import oil from a variety of not always friendly nations such as Saudi Arabia and Russia, but that can change. The entire world could benefit from the utilization of natural gas, which is much cleaner to burn than coal. This will make Earth a greener planet by reducing carbon emissions, many of which are caused by the burning of coal.
There's a modern-day gold rush going on right now in North Dakota, but this time the hunt is for black gold. Now a small town is booming, and it can't keep up with all the people who are flocking there for work.
Here in the U.S., fracking can create jobs that will boost the economy and increase tax revenue. In turn, some of the tax revenue can help recover the damages to the environment created by fracking and fund other popular healthcare or education programs. Advances in technology and investment in current infrastructure can help alleviate the safety and environmental concerns related to fracking.
Although fracking can bring benefits to U.S., the problems it brings should not be ignored. One problem is caused by the process of injecting fluid. Fracking involves injecting fluid underground with high pressure. The fluid used contains chemicals and sand. According to many estimates, approximately 40,000 gallons of chemicals are used per fracturing and up to 600 chemicals are used in the fluid. Some of these chemicals are alleged carcinogens and toxins. Research also shows that more than 15% of fracturing fluid is left in the ground. Although natural gas burns cleaner than other fossil fuels, methane and other greenhouse gases will be released during the process of fracking and the transportation of the gas. Methane concentrations have been found to be up to 17 times higher in the wells near fracturing sites than in normal wells.
On August 16, 2011,
the gas came into the water coming out of the faucet. The water was white as a sheet of paper.
When you put it in a glass, it looked like a beer. It got a head on it with foam. They taught us what our LEL was, which I had never heard before, but that's my lower explosive level. What happens is the gas companies come in and they come to you and they ask you to sign a lease, and you have two choices. You can sign a lease and possibly get some royalties, or you could not sign the lease and they're still going to drill on the neighboring properties.
Besides basic environmental pollution, there are substantial concerns that seismic activity may be caused by fracking. Many studies have indicated large increase in the quality of low-intensity earthquakes near fracking sites. Some small seismic activities reported were described as vibrations similar to the passing of a truck by the United States Geological Survey. Release of underground radiation is a pollution concern as well. There are many natural occurring radioactive substances, such as radon, that are not harmful until unearthed by the exploitation of natural resources. Although many safety precautions exist to limit the impact of pollution, there is no guarantee that states' governments will effectively regulate the drilling companies. Even if regulation pass, past events indicate that accidents or intentional ignoring rules could lead to serious negative impacts.
At the end of the day, the issue of fracking comes down to a matter of trust. Do you trust companies to conduct fracking operations safely? Do you trust the government to regulate accordingly without squeezing out all potential profit? History seems to indicate that unregulated industry shows little regard for environmental risks. The substantial pollution of the industrial area are evidence. On the other hand, government bureaucracy and corruption has often led to regulation being ineffective or rendering businesses unprofitable. Now, everyone wants the benefits of energy sustainability, economic growth in predominantly rural areas, and job creation. But public opinion is divided over whether or not the potential risks outweigh the rewards. Although the increased economic revenue could be used to solve some of the problems, at the same time, expanding fracking could substantially increase the rate at which environmental problems and health risks occur. Money can't solve everything. The science behind the environmental risks is still up for debate. It's difficult for the average citizen to understand and rigorously analyze the many studies on the impact of fracking, and many of the studies are directly funded by biased pro- or anti-fracking organizations, throwing objectivity into question. About 50% of Americans support fracking, including over 60% of Pennsylvanians. Regardless of your opinion on fracking, this issue is not likely to fade from importance. How we deal with that as both a society and a nation will only become an even more heated debate in the coming years.